All right, so day 4, we set out to go check out this new spot that Ryan had gotten intel about.
Kind of milled around, ate breakfast, broke camp, and we started our trek down to where Ryan had been. We found a camp spot that was on top of a mountain, not quite as exciting of a camp spot as our last place, but you can only do what you can do on a mountain when you need flat spots.
And I did like the first camp better than the second camp, and I was pretty vocal about that the entire trip. The second camp we had was kind of like up on top of a mountain, very windy, very cold, versus the first camp we had was down in this valley, completely wooded. We had a nice spot for a fire. We had lots of trees around. And after we set up camp, we're like, all right, let's go see if we can find some bear. So at this point, it was probably like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And Ryan and Emily decided they were gonna go to one location, and then Colin, Ben, and I were gonna go to another.
So I believe this is day 4. I've kind of lost track of time. We are in a different part of Oregon, still the west, southwest zone, but we have moved to a lot bigger country. The bears just weren't there. They had been. I think they'd moved on or moved up. I don't know. So we're here glassing. Ryan kind of pushed on a little farther down. I think he's about 3.5 miles from me.
Well, the scenery is beautiful, but the bear sign is not. About 4 miles in, and Emily split up again. She has a really, really good glassing point, so we wanted to leave someone there overlooking 3 or 4 valleys.
So we get set up at this glassing point, and we can really overlook, and as we look down, you see like the very steep face in front of us. There's another switchback, switches around again. There's like a series of 3 drops with switchbacks until it gets to this like bottom, which looks pretty clear. And then there's a row of trees where they had stopped cutting, and then it looks like it drops again. So we're figuring like along in there seems a good spot. So we're watching this whole area, expecting bears to sort of come up towards us, and we sit there for the majority of the day. And then it happens. Ben's like, bear, bear, bear. And this is like 7:20, right?
Got a bear down the bottom of this ravine. See what's going on.
Picked up some movements and just saw like black between trees. It's like this bear, 100%. We spotted him a couple other times. Me and Justin decided to go down. I was gonna like kind of coach him into it, and you know, range the bear for him and help him get the shot off. And Colin was gonna stay up top and give us hand signals and try to figure out where the bear went. So I mean, the whole area looked like it was like, you know, kind of straight down, but it was actually just false summits and false summits and false summits.
Okay, so the bear went into a small ditch, but the difference between the heights of the 2 ditches is about 100 yards.
Every time we ended up seeing a bear on this trip, I was doing something other than looking for bears. I was making coffee, I was setting up a camera for time-lapse shots. I was just like, not doing what I was supposed to be doing. Ben spots this bear, 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 bear. And we're like, where is it, where is it? Boom, he's like, look, there's a black dot down there, you see that? It's down literally at the edge of this wood line. We devised this plan that Colin would stay up top and sort of give us signals, and then Ben and I would slide down this hill as quietly as we could. And so we were trying to move as quickly and quietly as we could to close the distance. So we did close the distance up to about 120 yards of where we thought this bear would be. It's just, we never saw the bear again.
So we finally got down here to where you can see the whole valley now, and the bear moved like all the way up into the corner before we could see him. We saw him at like 360 yards, but we couldn't get a shot. So we closed the gap down. I think last we saw him, he was like 275. So Justin and Ben left their vantage point because they can't see it. And now they're going around. Going around here, down there.
So we went back up top and sat and waited again. Once again, I was doing something other than watching for bears. And then Ben's like, bear, bear, bear. And this time we see a bear that's traveling from right to left, just a little bit to the left of where we had originally seen the first one.
We just boogied down there. We got down to the bottom. pretty quick. We could see the bear. He had no shot. The bear kind of seemed like, so Justin got set up, he's ready to shoot. It was at 300. The bear kind of seemed like he knew something was going on, so he kind of came down this hill and then came up, and for maybe 2 seconds stopped. He was quartering towards, and Justin was just like, shot doesn't feel right.
That was my time to take a shot. I didn't, and I chose not to because it was getting dark and the brush all around us was super thick, and I didn't think that we were going to be able to find this bear because it was getting dark. And so I passed. It didn't feel right, and I passed, and it's okay.
Third bear of the day in this spot. We saw one over that way, which just kind of moved into the woods right after we saw it. And this one, we moved back down to about 300 yards, and then it bumped an elk. It moved back into the brush. We got about 20 minutes of shooting light left, so I don't know. We may just wait, come back tomorrow, sit at the same spot down here a little closer, which may be better so we don't bust them out tonight.
All right, day 4. We got skunked. We got like 5 minutes of shooting life left, maybe 10. Headed back to camp, which is up that hill. You can see the camp right there. It's learning day today, I think. We probably should have done what we did today for the last 3 days instead of what we did, I think. Beautiful sunset. Somebody's gonna continue going. But covered a lot of ground, glassed a lot of clear cuts, a lot of hillsides. Saw a lot of trails, saw more trails today than I have, so that's good. We will see you guys tomorrow.
Apparently the guy saw 3 different bears. We don't know the story on it yet. Apparently there was no shots available, and we're just kind of waiting for them to get back or send us a message and say they got a bear down. So for now, we've got this bonfire going that can't decide which direction it wants to blow because we're on top of a mountain. So it should be fun. Day 4, Oregon bear.
Morning. It's really cold up here.
What do you want?
It's time to go bear hunting.
No, it's not.
Let's go bear hunting.
It's like 6:30. Why don't you drive around? Just come get me if you find one.
Time to go bear hunting.
Ben and Colin had to leave the next day, so Justin gets stuck with us.
Day 5, so we're back at the spot we've dubbed the Switchbacks, where we saw bears yesterday evening. So this time with Ryan and Emily, and Ben is working and Colin is on his way back home. So it's just us today, but should have awesome time. I'm expecting to see a bear.
Hopefully.
I'd be really disappointed if we didn't, but
Yeah. Hopefully they're on that same schedule as they were yesterday.
hopefully they're early.
Maybe.
So we're in
work early.
What time is it now?
10% low power. 10:25.
10:25. So we're like 3 hours earlier than we were yesterday.
We hiked in. It was about a 2.5 or 3 mile hike into the glassing spot. Basically, it was on an old logging road that you had to kind of find this little trail through. Once you got through the trail, it was a set of switchbacks that went down about 1.5 miles in 250-yard increments. By like 2 o'clock, it was like the feel-like temperature was 92 degrees, and there was not a cloud to be seen.
I had wool socks on and long underwear.
So Justin and Emily set up the Slumberjack tarp for some shade. I was kind of in a different frame of mind, and I just sat out in the sun all day. I didn't want to come off the glass because it was literally the day before we left, and I think if I come off the glass for 5 minutes or for 2 minutes, the bear's gonna be come and gone. But we sat there, and it's worth noting that the day before they saw a bear at 4, they saw a bear at 7, and they saw a bear at 8:30. So 4 o'clock comes, my hopes are getting high. 4 o'clock crests, no bears. 7 o'clock comes around, 7 o'clock leaves stage left, no bears.
So 8 o'clock hits, and the sun's starting to set, and Justin really likes the sunset videos on the GoPro. So he gets up and he starts getting the video set up.
So it was literally just like it happened the day before, and I was doing something other than glassing for bears. And I look up, and on this far ridge, I see this black spot in this grassy area that wasn't there before. And I was like, hey guys, look at that. That looks like a bear. And everybody's like, holy smokes, there's a bear. So we ranged it 830 something or 50 something yards.
So we all instantly got excited. We kind of got on the glass, started making some decisions. And before we could even really make a solid decision, bear disappears. Bear barrels off the side of the mountain.
I mean, you can hear limbs crashing, you can hear everything going, and this bear is just booking it down this hill. And it just disappears, it goes quiet, and we're like, oh, well, okay, we saw a bear.
I'm just happy to have seen a bear. This is day 5. I hadn't seen a bear. At least we got to see a bear.
Life kind of moved on for about 10-15 minutes, and then I was setting up for a sunset shot. And I looked down in that same bottom, in the very far corner, I saw a bear.
Every time Dustin stand up, he saw a bear. I don't know if it's because he's a tall guy and every time he stood up he has a different vantage point, or if it's just the luck is with Justin when he decides to make coffee or film a video. Ranged him at I think 550 something, then it was 540 something, and then it just stayed at 542, 542, 542, 542.
Well within the comfort zone of both Ryan and Emily. So they chose to take their shot, and Ryan got all set up. There was a big scramble, and then calm, and then ready for the shot.
And so finally he kind of broke in between the two yellow bushes and stopped for a split second, and I decided, you know what, that's my shot right there. Stuck it right behind the shoulder, pressed the trigger.
And he says, going hot, boom, hit, contact.
Shot just right behind that front shoulder, big smack, and I hear Emily say, solid hit, and Justin says he's down.
I see the bear go down. Bear gets back up again. Boom! Emily hits. Contact.
I call the impact on that one. Justice said, okay, he's hit. And then he moved again. He's facing kind of the opposite way now. First he was going left to right. He's moving from right to left now. Put it behind the shoulder on the left-hand side, pull the trigger. Bear's down.
Still moving, now moving left. Alright, we need to get down there. Do it.
Bear's down. So Emily's on the glass now because I'm in, not panic mode, but I look up and Justin already has his pack on, ready to go.
Ryan dumps his pack, dumps some gear. I just grab whatever I have and throw it in my pack, and off we go. And then we got over a couple of the small ridges and found that the swamp, which I thought was like maybe the size of like a queen-size bed, was actually a good sizable pond down there. And there was the bear on this log, kind of like still fighting, halfway in the swamp, halfway out. And so Ryan, boom, shot again, scoped his eye. So as we're there, Ryan and I are here at his bear finally, and it takes us about 20 minutes to drag this thing out of the swamp about 8 feet. And initially the thing was we weren't gonna take skull, we were gonna take hide. We thought it was a sow, we thought it was much smaller. This bear turned out to be a big boar. So Ryan and I get the bear done, and at this point it's like 11 o'clock at night, and it's dark. We're like, all right, thankfully we got juice on the cell phone so we can figure it out. We only had a half liter water between the two of us.
Both fell in the swamp. We finally got it up to within a few feet of the bank where we could actually work on it, and then we commenced to getting the bear cleaned up and taken care of. It was so hot down there. It took a lot longer than we expected. It was a lot more work than we expected. did I drink all my water? We finally got everything done. I rolled up the pelt. We got all the meat. We loaded up the bags with meat. Realized that we were gonna have to leave some of it there. So we loaded up with meat and we took off hiking.
We load up our packs with as much meat as we think we can carry, and we get moving and get about 50 yards and realize our packs are way too heavy. So we offload a couple of bags of meat, hang them in the trees, and then now we have a more manageable weight. So we just start moving. So now we're
10-minute breaking it every 250 yards.
1/3 of the way to the truck.
Yep.
We called Ben once we got service and said, "Hey buddy, what are you up to?"
Like 2 a.m.
Yeah, it was like 1:30 or 2 in the morning. He just happened to not have to work the next day, so he agreed to come back in the morning to help us.
So we made it back to the truck. We weighed the packs. So Ryan's pack was about 200 and something, and mine was about 165. So we packed out a ton of weight, a good distance, safely, effectively, but we still had more meat. So this was like 1, 2 in the morning when we got back there. Ben got there probably about 10 a.m. and we hiked in, straight back down.
Just made it down here at the bottom of the swamp. So the daytime confirms the gnarliness of, and we came up here at nighttime, or out of here at nighttime. That's where we came from. That's where we had to hike out last night at 11. We started at 11 and got back at 3. It's 2 miles. Pretty rough. So down here recovering stuff. It's a pretty gnarly terrain down here. There's the swamp. Big country. So 4 of us, there's 4 bags. Try to get out of here now.
Loaded up, everybody took a bag, and we moved back up the hill, like really uneventful, just kept going. We got back up, weighed the packs, and I think all in all, I think it was like 380 pounds of meat or something like that, that we'd packed out on those 2 runs. So big bear, big bear. Draped the skin out, looked at the meat, took pictures. Man, dude, it was crazy. The bear's huge, like bigger than my hand. His paw was, his head was just massive. What amazed me most was the fat on it. The fat on the backstrap. You'd have like this much meat and then like this much fat, which is pretty crazy for a spring bear because normally they drop weight, which means that guy going into hibernation in the winter was probably a monster. It was such an adventure just from the get-go, from us trying to figure it out, not having a lot of experience hunting this area and just going out there in those days and finding bear. And each day was progressive. Each day got better and better. Each day we found more sign. We found this, we found bear, then we got within distance of bear, then we shot bear, and then we packed it out safely. You know, it was, the adventure went full circle, and man, what a great time. I had such a blast.